Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Modded Skyrim Special Edition. We're here with Artorius, and Artorius has been a busy little bud. He has had a conversation with Skaggi down at Left Hand Mine, and, since they have a smelter down there, Artorius was able to convince Skaggi that if he were to allow us to set up a smithing area there, that we could cut the cost of shipping and by getting iron ore wholesale from the mine, and then what we'll do is we'll set up a smithy, just a basic set of tools there near the left-hand mine, near the smelter, and what we'll do is we don't have to pay for anything. So I've been able to convince Skaggi that if he purchases the items, we'll set it up and we'll do some stuff for him until he's satisfied that we've paid off what needs for the equipment, and I'll get a little bit of the profits and split the rest with him once we're all paid off. So he has in turn made a deal between he and himself with the folks over here at the I believe it's called Arnelf and Sons Trading Company, and they've sent word that our shipments come in, they have our supplies, and they're ready for us to pick them up. So let's head on inside and have a talk with the merchants.
Got something for just about everybody in here. Give a holler if you have any questions.
Elizabeth handles the customers. I just check the shipments.
All right. So
I'm telling you, I heard it, howling. Those werewolf tales are true.
Feel free to take a look around the store.
okay, so I'm gonna look around the store as suggested, and let's see. That looks like might be a crate over here. Oh yes, smithing supplies. Excellent. And let's just take a look real quick. We've got an anvil, a grindstone, a tanning rack, and a workbench. I think that's pretty much all you need to get started with a basic smithy. Now, we shouldn't be able to smith all of the things using these, but we should be able to get by with most. So what I'm going to do is I am going to get these guys to help us with this crate outside, and then we'll load it up on the wagon. So I'll be right back once we get these items loaded up onto the wagon. Alright, you guys, we're back, and we've got the cart loaded up, and Maximus is ready to pull us on back over to the left-hand mine where we've been hanging out. So I'm ready just to get on the cart here, and we'll get on the cart, and away, Maximus. A little bit of a tight turn here. I don't want to have things go haywire. Yeah, we should be good to go now. Excellent. So we're just gonna, I figured I'd do this with you guys on camera because I'm really loving this cart. I really feel like it was a wise investment, and we're gonna be able to use it for so many things coming up, especially when we're done here and ready to move out of the left-hand mine. This cart is going to allow us to take everything with us once we figure out, once we figure out where we're going to set up a more permanent base camp. This is a very temporary situation here, but I think this is a pretty good deal that Skaggi here is going to let us set up a smithy operation over here near the forge. So I'm just going to pull the wagon right up over here, just about. Actually, let me go ahead and pull it over this way. Try not to kill everybody, and that way we don't have to move the stuff quite so far, because that stuff's pretty heavy, you know. Alright, so let me go ahead and get off, and steady, boy, steady as she goes.
Oh.
Alright, so first thing first, let's go ahead and get the crate set up over here. And that's under the cargo. And we'll just go ahead and grab everything. So we've got an anvil, and we've got grindstone, smithing supply, chest, and a tanning rack, and a workbench. So, yep, I'm gonna go ahead and set this stuff up, and I thought you guys might be interested to see how this works, because we're gonna be doing some world editing here. So first things first, there is some water over here. So if we need to quench some items, I think this might be a good place to set up the anvil, more than likely. So what we're going to do is kind of pick where we want it, and then go into the inventory. And these items were gathered using Jaxonz Positioner. So to put them down, all I got to do is drop them on the ground, and they'll automatically be selected. And sometimes when you drop it, you won't see the little blue outline of the selection, but this is selected. So I'm just using the arrow keys to move it around to and from me and to my left and right, and then obviously I need to move it down, so I'll use the page down function for that. And I'm free to move while this is happening. I'm not actually stuck. I can move while I still have it selected. And I'm just going to push it right up against this crate here, because I think this will make for a pretty good crafting area. And I don't want to do any unrealistic clipping, but we can get that pretty close. And then usually what I like to do is I'll move it up and down a little bit also, and make sure that even if it's sunk into the ground, that it's only sunk in at the very minimal. So maybe something like that. And you can even crouch if you want to get a better angle. So let me move it down a little more, up a little more. Yeah, so it's in the ground there, and we should be able to use it just like that. So when you're done, all you got to do is hit your enter on your number pad, and you'll see a message in the upper left corner that says object locked into place, and this is now in the world. It is an anvil. All right, and you can use it. So if we just check it out here, I'll use it, and you can see if we want to, we can turn our septums into gold earrings. I will not be doing that because it takes 110 septums and to turn them into a value of 150. But we have such a low speech, we're not going to get 150, so that we'd be losing money on that for sure. So the Campfire Unleashed adds a lot of mods as well. Not mods, adds a lot of craftable items as well. So we'll be taking a look at that, I'm sure, pretty soon as well. But along with our anvil, we are also probably going to need a grindstone and a workbench. And I was kind of looking, and I don't want to interfere with this coal pile over here. So I'm thinking I'll put the grindstone kind of angled this way, right over here. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to switch into first person. And we'll go ahead and put down our grindstone. And then we'll just take a look from the side here. I'm going to drop it down. Okay, just until it's on the ground. And then let me move it over just a little bit. And then for the rotation, if you want to rotate something, it's just you use the 7 and 9 key. So, and you can see this one kind of rotates weird, but that's because there's an invisible little marker that's right over here, and that's the animation marker for the player interaction animation. How is that? I think I'm going to angle it just a little bit more this way, and then move it over just a little bit more. I really don't want to interfere with the pathing with this coal pile though, because these guys come over here and use this. So let me just play it safe and keep it just out of their way there. And then once it is where you want it, I'm going to raise it up just a little bit more. Okay, down just until the feet touch, and then lock it into place. Yep, so it's a little bit hidden over here, but if we hop on, we'll see we can use it, and if we want to, we can improve our items. Hey, look, if we have a firewood and a leather strips, we can upgrade our hunting bow. I didn't even think about that before, and we have both of those things. So let's do that while I'm thinking of it so that I don't forget. Firewood, I believe we have stored in the cart. Yep. I don't remember how many. I think we only needed 2. 2 firewood. And an iron ingot. Where's our iron ingots? Maybe they're still on the horse. Yep, got lots. Been doing lots of mining. I'll grab 2, I don't know. I couldn't remember between here and there what it was going to take to do it. So here, let's, it was not an iron ingot, it was leather strips. Come on now. This is, Artorius showing his lack of experience. So we just need some leather strips. Just 1, I believe. I'll grab 2. And sometimes I'll do that. I'll just grab extras, just in case we want to craft something up with the leftovers. So it looks like we can upgrade this now, and it goes from 12 to 14. So it's now a superior hunting bow. Excellent. Craft it up. Yep. And then I believe we need to reassign it. It'll still be favorited. Okay, no, it remembered. Okay, so it's still there in our favorites menu. All right, so we've got the anvil set up, and we've got the grindstone set up. Now, where do we want to put the workbench? I'm thinking we need to find another relatively flat spot. So what about if we'll put it right up against this thing here, and I'll go ahead and harvest these flowers. And we might need to clean that up, so I might not have should have harvested those flowers. If you have a harvestable like these right here, and you get the little pop-up for the the prompt to harvest, it's a lot easier to select it with the positioner. You can select it and move it around. But if you have harvested it like I just did there, it's a little more difficult to select it. So if I come over here, you just need to make sure it's right in the center of your area. This works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. So it did that time. Let's do the same thing over here. We're just gonna tear up these flowers over here by hitting delete and enter, and that way we've cleaned this area up over here. And let's see. I'll grab the, do I have the workbench? Yeah, I already have the workbench. So let's go ahead and toss it down on the floor here. Alright, and wow, right in our face. So let's see. I forget which side is the side that you use, so it's going to be this side. Alright, and then all we need to do is basically rotate 90 degrees. Here we go, and we need to move it down. And we need to, I want to just maybe just slide it right up against this part of this stone construction over here. And you can see here, it's off the ground over here. There's some different things that we can do about that. We can rotate it so that this end dips down, but I don't want to do that. That'll look kind of weird if we're trying to use it. So I'm just going to move it this way as far as we can, and then I might move it down just a little bit like that. And I'm gonna, let me rotate it just a little bit more. Make sure it's nice and lined up there. And then what I'll do is I'll go see if we can find a stone or something that we can actually put underneath here that we'll use to support this so that it's nice and level. Because you know, when you're doing your thing with the workbench, you definitely don't want to have it be off kilter. Now, you might notice that the texture here is a little bit glitchy right now, but if we leave the cell and then come back in the cell, that'll be corrected. And I'll actually just demonstrate that by going inside the mine and then just turning around and coming right back outside. If you scale an object also, the hitbox will not necessarily scale with it, again, until you leave the cell and then come back. So as you can see now, we've got a really nice texture here, and it's not glitchy at all. So like I was mentioning before, we can actually look around for a terrain item, like a rock or something like this. What was that? A shovel? Let me grab that shovel. We'll use it to decorate with. So I'm just looking for something that's kind of flat. And these are really round rocks. So let me see if I can find something a little flatter over this area. So this is actually a part of this structure, I believe. But if you want to select something that doesn't have a handle, and by handle I just mean that, like these flowers, it makes the harvest pop up. If you don't have something like that, see this rock right here it looks huge, but it also is perfect for what we're looking for. It's nice and flat on this side. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it and make a copy of it, and I'll show you how to do that. You just hit the command console here and select it, and then not looking at anything, just hit enter on your number pad, and you've selected that item. Now this is a vanilla asset that's already in the world here. So if I move it, I'm going to move it from where, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to make a copy of it by pressing the multiply button, and then I'll move the copy over just a little bit like this, and then I'll hit the minus key and we'll go ahead and pick it up. And it's a little bit unrealistic because this rock here is going to only weigh 5 pounds, but I'm gonna just name it rock so it's easy to find as a static object. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, and I'm going to put that rock right here, and we're probably only going to use like a small fraction of it sticking up through the ground. But I'm going to go ahead and drop it here, and let's see what happens. I'm looking for the rock. Where's the rock? There it is, right there. Okay, I'm going to stand back. Yeah, see, this thing is absolutely huge. And it's even colliding with the cart. So I'm going to, first things first, I'm going to page down. I'm just going to move it right on down into the ground. And a little bit more. Yeah, just like that. See, I really only just want this little bit of a flat, the flat part, because we're just going to move it over and stick it up underneath of our workbench. So I'm just pushing it away from me, and as it goes under more, I'll raise it up so that we can still see it.
Like my mom?
And then I'll move it over and back again. And then I'll move it up a little. And just keep moving things in small increments. And that way you don't get too confused about what's going on. So I'm going to move it over some more this way. Now it's disappeared, but I still have it selected. And I'm moving it back, and then I'm going to move it up. So I haven't rotated it yet or anything like that, but I may do. I may actually do that. Alright, and then now that it's kind of where I want it, I'm just going to move it down a little bit. And then I'm going to take a look and see. So this is almost perfectly what I was hoping for. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to figure out how to rotate it so that it's a little more flat. And I don't know where all the axes are, so I'm just going to tap on the number buttons. And so that's the rotate. That's not the way we want to move it. I don't think that's correct. That's it. So I'm just, see how I'm just a little nudge here and there until we get the surface coming up the way that we want it. And I think we'll do even just a little bit more so that it blends in with the landscape. Yeah, see how flat that is? And then I might even just push it back a little this way. A little more of that rotation. Alright. A little more this way. Because we don't really need much of it. We just want something that's sticking up here just so that the workbench doesn't look too out of place. And so that when we walk up to the workbench, it'll feel like it makes sense that we're straight up and that this is going downhill. So we're just building up the terrain there. And then I'm also going to move it back this way because again we don't really need it. We don't really need all that much of it. So I'm just going to bring it up just until there it touches the foot of the workbench. And then that's it. I think that looks good, and we're going to lock it into place. And you can see, you can barely see it now. It almost looks like we didn't do anything, but there's just a little bit of something underneath this bench to legitimize the fact that we don't have the feet floating up in the air. And let's just give the workbench a test. Looks like it works pretty good. We don't have anything that we can upgrade. And you might be saying, but wait a minute, Art, didn't we make our blacksmith's apron into light armor? We did. But I also learned recently that we are not going to receive any of the light armor upgrade abilities with our modified blacksmith's outfit. So if I want to upgrade it, I'm going to have to figure out a different outfit. But I have some ideas for that. The last thing I believe that we're going to set up is the tanning rack. And I have no idea where to put that one. It kind of makes sense that it would be like right over here, I think. Maybe I'll put it right up against this. Like right here. There's not really a path to that though. So let me see.
Hey there.
Maybe I'll move this rock down. And there's a shovel there as well. Let me grab this shovel. I think I might move this rock down. So let me give that a selection. Okay, I won't. See how it selected the entire front of the mine? So this rock is a part of this this whole thing right here. So I'm not going to move that. I'll just hit enter again to lock it into place. And yeah, so you're in the way. Let me move the cart out of the way first. And we'll put the cart back over here where it was. And I do like that with this cart, I can either drive it from the driver's seat, the driver's bench up here, or I can just hop on the Maximus real quick and do like I did there. So I can actually just ride the horse normally and pull the cart behind, which is kind of neat. And let's see. So this is the area that I was thinking of, and I think this will still work. It's probably going to work just fine. Let me go ahead and drop it. And then we'll just look from here. We just really need to move it down. And we might even just let it collide with that rock, because I kind of like where that's at. We'll just make it look like it's like built into the rock there. Now I'm not sure about the usability if we do it that way. Let's see. And I don't like that one leg kind of sticking out either. Maybe I'll just move it over just a little bit more and put it right over here. Just beside the rock. And then give it a little rotate. Bring it forward. How about that? And then just drop it down so that it's right on the ground. Bring it up a little bit. It's a little bit tedious, and I know that it's colliding with this kind of bush thingy over here, but we'll see if we can get rid of that in just a second. But I think that looks pretty good, and I would push it back a little more, but I kind of like how it's a little more legit. It's like up against this. Let me rotate it this way, move it back a little, and then move it just over just a little bit. That way those two little rocks there are kind of still in the middle. Now I don't know if you can't really tell, I'm colliding with the tanning rack here. So remember what I mentioned about the collision when you move things around sometimes? So I think once we lock it down, I'll just go ahead and lock it into place. That collision might still be there. So I'm just going to go into another cell, and then when I come back into the exterior cell, that problem will be fixed and it'll go away, and then the collision box will reset around the tanning rack. So it's there, no more collision. See, we can move back and forth with no problem. And let's just test it out. Okay, so it's working perfectly. And then last thing first thing last, I want to maybe move this or get rid of it. So I most of the time like to try to move things rather than just delete them. So let's see. I'm not sure. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Moving things is better than deleting them, in my opinion, because there's all this cool stuff in the terrain and everything already. So we don't necessarily need to get rid of everything. And I even don't mind that that'll stick, like that branch will stick behind the tanning rack a little bit. That's fine. And I also don't mind that we pushed it back so it collides a little bit in here. Because honestly, once I lock it down, you can't really tell. I don't see any of the clipping and things like that. And check it out.
Better than any man.
Teggery is already using the item, so it actually has an idle function as well. So any of the NPCs around here, I'm not 100% certain, but we might even catch a Skaggi over here using the anvil once in a while, or someone sitting on the grindstone. So it's really cool. I'm really happy to see that the NPC is using the tanning rack, because that legitimizes the deal.
Hello, friend.
So it's not just me, Skaggi, that's getting a use out of this. All of you guys can use this equipment as well. And so yeah, so we have now converted the smelter by itself at the left-hand mine here just outside of Markarth to a full crafting area. We've got the grindstone, anvil, workbench, and tanning rack. And the smelter, of course, was already here. So that's what gave me the idea to mention making this deal with Mr. Skaggi here.
It's good to see you again.
Yep, see? He's happy about it.
All right, then.
Alright then. Alright, speaking of alright then, that's going to be it for us for this episode, guys. And I hope I see you in the next one. I'm See You Later, and I'll see you later.